How strong is Jawbone's case here? Is the company's contention that Fitbit is benefiting from information that it has been taking illegally?
You know, it's an excellent question, Mark, but all we are facing right now is the bare allegations in a 30-page complaint, and Fitbit has not had the opportunity to formally respond to the complaint, so we really can't surmise whether these allegations are going to be proven true and how the lawsuit will play out.
All right, Sheryl, but let's say you're Jawbone. I've gone through the complaint. I mean, these are 5 employees from engineering to research and development who are doing, if Jawbone is correct, some pretty questionable things. Just before leaving the company, they were asking for meetings that were super confidential. They were taking files out of the building. How do you put that toothpaste back into the tube when R&D, which is sort of the treasure of the business, has now just walked out the door?
Well, and you're absolutely right that, if these allegations play out as true and if Jawbone is able to prove its case, the fact that these employees seem to have been downloading information and, passing information to their personal email and downloading information to thumb drives certainly looks suspect and raises some questions about what their intentions are in their new employment.
How would you define poaching? If employees aren't under contract, aren't they essentially free agents?
Well, and you're right, and the use of the word poaching I found interesting, and it's one that's thrown around in lawsuits like this all the time. We need to keep in mind that, Fitbit, by hiring away employees from a competitor, did nothing wrong, particularly in California, where there are no lawful non-competes in a setting like this. So these employees have the ability to go from competitor to competitor as they see fit.
So while these employees, for example, still worked at Jawbone, and they were requesting meetings with management to understand more about the R&D side, to understand supply chain issues, and then taking that information and leaving, it could make them unethical, but not necessarily illegal.
What they were doing depends on what their motivations were, right? So if they were gathering information in the course of performing their regular job duties on a day-to-day basis, certainly nothing wrong with that. But if they were gathering intelligence and confidential information with the intention to use it in their new employment, that would certainly be something that we would understand Jawbone would be concerned about.
Now,
absolutely.
We know that Fitbit has been working towards their IPO. I believe Morgan Stanley is going to do it. Last fall, they tried to raise money in the private markets and were unable to do it. And if you look at their R&D spend, it's been very low if you compare it to their marketing spend. So could Jawbone try to make the argument, well, as they approach their IPO, they are desperate to get this kind of intelligence. Could they make an argument saying this, this is just a big grand scheme to take your company public?
Well, that seems to be what the allegations are leaning towards. However, Jawbone also has an obligation, if they want to protect their confidential information, to do exactly what they've done here, which is to file a lawsuit in an effort to protect what they say they've made an effort to secure as confidential and what they say they've made an effort to protect over time.
Then if Jawbone made a mistake here, and they should have done that, would you say that's sort of an unintended consequence of young, immature businesses that just haven't been around that long?
I'm sorry, if they made a mistake in doing what?
If they made a mistake and if they didn't protect their R&D, if they didn't protect their information, and technically it's allowed to walk out the door, is this something we see often out of young companies in the tech industry who just don't know better?
Well, we do see that from time to time, and certainly in being able to prove that something is a trade secret, the company is required to show that they've taken reasonable steps to protect it. That's important, to be able to show that something is a trade secret and that it's worthy of protection and worthy of the court intervening. And they allege in their complaint that they took a number of steps, including requiring people to sign confidentiality agreements and implementing policies requiring employees to keep things confidential. The question will be what else they did to protect that confidential information from it being revealed to the public and competitors.
And Ms. Halpern, in about 10 seconds, how do these cases generally play out?
In my experience, the vast majority of these cases ended up settling, primarily because companies don't want their trade secrets and confidential information paraded in front of the public.